Top 10 budget graphic cards that can run COD Warzone at 60 FPS. The year 2021 has been really bad for gamers as their favorite GPUs prices have doubled, tripled, and in some cases, quadrupled. Call of Duty Warzone is one of the most graphic-intensive battle royale games out there, so you need a good GPU to run it. So, considering the recent price hikes of GPUs, here are some options that you can consider. I've tried to keep the list of GPUs that are below $800, so I understand that it's not budget, but that's what we're dealing with these days. Let's start the video. Number 10. Radeon RX 580 4GB, 350 to 400 USD. This is the cheapest graphics card to run Call of Duty Warzone at more than 60 frames per second. You can get more than 65 frames per second, keeping the graphics settings to high. If you want more than 75 frames per second, you might want to switch to medium settings. Even during the most graphic-intensive scenes in the game, if you're playing at high settings, the frame rate will go down to just 55, which is quite acceptable. The base price of this card was $200, but due to the current hike in the prices of graphic cards, you'll find this card for around $350 to $400. Number 9. Radeon RX 578GB, 450 to 550 US. Another DDR5 memory card on this list is the RX 578GB from AMD. Now, despite its memory, it's not a very powerful card compared to something much more recent like the GTX 1650 Super, which we'll talk about in this video. However, it is still capable enough to run Call of Duty Warzone at around 60 to 70 frames per second. Speaking of the price, this card was launched for $229 back in 2017, and it was easily available for around $150 in used condition last year. However, thanks to nasty scalpers and crypto miners who bought these cards so much that they became rare in the market, the price of this card tripled in a matter of months. Now this card is available brand new for over $500, and you might be able to get a used one for around $450. Number 8. Radeon RX 588GB, 600 to 700 US. This is another card that is amazing for Call of Duty Warzone. This is the elder brother of the RX 584GB we talked about earlier. There wasn't a big difference between the price of this card and the 4GB variant. The 4GB variant of the RX 580 launched for $200, and the 8GB variant of the same card launched for $230. But these days, people are asking over $600 and even $700 for an RX 588GB. Speaking of gameplay, you can easily get around 75 to 88 frames per second at high settings. Number 7. Nvidia GTX 1650 Super, 350 to 460 US. If you're not fond of AMD cards, then we can recommend this card from Nvidia. This is the Nvidia GTX 1650 Super, and it's the bigger brother of the 1650. The reason why we ranked it above the RX 584GB and the RX 578GB because this graphics card has DDR6 graphics memory compared to the DDR5 in the RX 584GB. This GPU will be able to run Call of Duty Warzone at around 75 frames per second, with numbers going as high as 91 frames per second, and the lowest frames you'll get will be around 65. So this is a pretty smooth gaming experience at high settings. Warzone will also be playable at Ultra through this card, but you'll see frames dropping to the 50 range. The base price of this card was $159, but now the price has hiked up to $350, and some sellers will also sell this card brand new for over $460. Number 6. Nvidia GTX 1660, 450 to 500 US. The next card we'll be talking about is the GTX 1660, and for its price, this card is an absolute beast. Even though the price of this card has become really high, it is still a great buy for gaming. This card was launched for $220. The GTX 1660 comes with 6GB of DDR6 memory, and nowadays, this card is available for around $450 to $550 US. However, Some people are even selling this card for $700 USD as we speak. Speaking of how good this card is for Warzone, you can get around 90 to 95 frames per second with this card at high settings. Number 5. Nvidia GTX 1660 Super, $560 to $680 US. If you have an extra $100 to spend on your GPU, you can go for a GTX 1660 Super. Here, the performance at high settings is absolutely phenomenal. You can easily get more than 100 frames per second at 1080p at high settings. Even if you play Warzone at ultra settings, you'll be able to get around 75 to 85 frames per second, which is amazing. Now, this card was launched for $230, but now people are selling this card brand new for around $560 to $680. Some are even selling this card for $800 these days, which is absolutely insane. Number 4. Radeon RX 550 XT 8GB, $550 to $700 US. This is the most recent Radeon card series out there on the market, and this is the most economical one out of the bunch. This card has 8 gigs of DDR6 graphics memory and can smoothly run Call of Duty Warzone at around 95 frames per second on average. If you want more than 100 frames per second, you can shift to medium settings. Now, this card was launched for $200, but as of now, this card is being sold for more than $550, and prices can go as high as $700. Number 3. Nvidia GTX 1660 Ti, $650 to $800 US. This is the most powerful GPU in the 1660 lineup and was launched for $280 back in 2019. This card is extremely powerful and can literally run any AAA game title available these days pretty smoothly. Speaking of its performance in Call of Duty Warzone, you can easily get more than 110 frames per second with this card, and the lowest this card can go in the most graphic-intense scenes will be 100 frames per second. It won't go below that. You can even push this card further for ultra settings and even play at 1440p on high settings. If you get a good deal these days, you can get this card for around $650 to $750, but don't get surprised if you see this card available for over $800. Number 2. Radeon RX 5600 XT, $600 to $850. This is the elder brother of the 5500 XT. The RX 5600 XT performs slightly better than the 5500 XT in Call of Duty Warzone. You can get performance close to 105 frames per second on average, which is not bad. Also, if you want a game at 1440p, you can get around 65 to 75 frames per second. Considering this card is relatively new, this is even more expensive these days. Owners can ask for $600 to $850 for this card in brand new condition, and don't expect it to cost any less in used conditions. Now, we know you might not like this list, and it's true, these cards are heavily overpriced. So, before going to number 1, here's an honorable mention. RX 570 4GB, $200 to $230. Even though its 8GB variant is highly unaffordable in terms of its performance, this card might be perfect for low-budget gamers. If you game on medium settings on Call of Duty Warzone, you can get an average of 65 frames per second. If you want to lower down the graphics to low settings for even better performance, you can get more than 70 frames per second. Not bad, right? Number 1. Nvidia RTX 2060, $650 to $850 US. This is the highest performing card on this list and probably the most expensive one. Even though this card launched for $350 back then, but now vendors' demands range from $650 to even $850. Things are really bad for gamers these days. Speaking of the performance, you can easily get around 115 to 125 frames per second on high settings, a pretty impressive number. You won't go below 100 frames per second even on ultra settings. This card is perfect for 1440p gaming as well, with frame rates averaging at 98. With that touchy end, this video comes to an end. I hope you liked it, so go ahead and press the thumbs up button. Also, if you're new, subscribe to our channel and leave a comment below if you want us to make a video about something. Until next time.